Hello guys, and welcome back to another CD healing guide video. The last healing guide video on this channel is a bit outdated, so take a cup of tea, lean back, because I have a lot to explain and show to you. First of all, what changed? Well, we had that huge Scalebreaker update, and the reason why I'm going that far back in time is actually because I want you guys to really understand why we are using skills we are using right now, and not just copy a guide you found online. Before Scalebreaker, healers could layer their heals. Like, they could spam and stack springs and spam orbs. Right now we can't do this anymore. For example, if I want to put a spring here and another one right next to the first one will just disappear. Same with orbs. I can cast one orb, and if I want to cast a second orb, the first one is gone. But you can also see that this orb is flying super slow, and right now more than one DD can actually take the synergy from that orb, so it's not that bad that we can't spam them anymore, and it's, yeah, way easier to sustain right now. But what does this change mean to us? It actually changed the way how we are using our healing skills, and especially how we skilled them. Because right now it's important for us that our healing skills are lasting as long as possible, so we can buff the group and debuff that. I will just go through those classic healing skills every healer should use, and I will explain why I skilled them the way I skilled them. Let's start with those springs. We can choose between healing springs and illustrious healing. Healing springs: summon restoring spirits with your stuff, healing you and your allies in the target area for 1248 health, an additional 1248 health every 1 second for 8 seconds. Illustrious healing: summon restoring spirits with your stuff, healing you and your allies in the target area for 1874 health, an additional 1874 health every 1 second for 12 seconds. So you can see, illustrious healing is lasting longer and is healing more, so we take this with us and not healing springs anymore as we used to. The thing is, now we can't stack them anymore, so the first one is the important one. That doesn't mean actually that we can't spam them, but I will explain later why it's not that bad actually to spam them. Next one: rapid regeneration or radiating regeneration. Rapid: share your stuff's life, giving energy, healing you or nearby ally for 19,350 health over 5 seconds. Radiating regeneration: share your stuff's life, giving energy, healing you or up to 3 nearby allies for 19,350 health. They are missing the word health in here, over 10 seconds. So in this case, we take, of course, the morph who heals 3 nearby allies over 10 seconds. Radiating regeneration is actually a super good skill you can spam between long-lasting healing abilities. For example, you put a healing spring on the ground and then just spam this skill to keep up healing on your group. Next one: combat prayer. Well, nothing really changed with combat prayer. Combat prayer is still a skill you actually want to keep all the time up on your DDs, because it grants mana berserk and mana resolve, increasing you and your allies' damage done by 8% and physical resistance and spell resistance by 1320 for 8 seconds. So we take this with us. Actually, combat prayer is a super good heal as well. So if you put a healing spring down and your group gets in trouble, just spam those prayers and heal them. And of course, this regeneration. I also skilled this skill, Ward Ally. This skill is actually a skill you actually don't need in every situation, so I won't put it right now on my bar. But I decided to take Ward Ally, the morph, because it not only shields my ally, it also shields myself. So for example, in raids like Sunspire, where you have to heal ice cages as a healer, you can compare that with that blackrose prison healing stuff and you are good to go. So you put actually one ward on that person in that ice cage with that blackrose prison stuff, a spring, and then heal him through. Undaunted. We need that altar. In this case, it's not necessary that both healers having this altar, or if actually more than 3 people or more than 2 people have it, so just talk to your group members and probably you don't have to take it. But in this case I took the Overflowing Altar because allies in the area can activate the Blood Feast synergy, healing for 65% of the maximum health. The other one is healing after taking the synergy only for 40% of the maximum health, so in this case I decided to take this one. Next skill, definitely the Orb. I already explained how this Orb works. It's still a good heal. We can't spam it anymore, so our stain got a lot better. So I'm actually not really sad about those changes, so nice one. You can also skill Bone Surge. The Shield, also a skill you don't need in every situation, so I won't put it right now on my bar. Alliance War Assault. We are of course playing with the Warhorn, in this case with the aggressive horn. Sound the Warhorn to rely your forces, increasing you and your group's max magicka and max stamina for 10% for 30 seconds. You and your allies gain major force, increasing your critical damage by 15% for 10 seconds. In this case I put the horn on my other bar, I already did. Support. Barrier is actually a skill I don't actively use, but I have it with me. It depends really on your group. But in this case I decided to take the Reviving Barrier as they buffed it. It's now healing for more. Invoke Defensive Tactics to protect yourself and nearby group members with wards that each absorb up to 27,809 damage for 30 seconds. The wards also heal you and your group members for 16,650 health over 15 seconds. So it's actually, if you press it, another heal over time. They also changed the numbers of people the barrier is reaching. Now you can hit actually 12 people, so the whole group. And yeah, previously you only could hit 6 people with that barrier. I put this barrier on my healing bar, and there's a reason I do that. It's actually that passive. Magicka 8. Increases your magicka recovery by 10% for each support ability slotted. In this case, it's my barrier. I also skilled Purge, but Purge is also a skill you don't need in every fight. In this case, I skilled the Efficient Purge. It just costs 2k less magicka than the other morph. We need the Elemental Blockade. Blockade of Storm sets concussed enemies off balance, and we need Elemental Drain. In this case, only one heal has to run Elemental Drain, so always talk to your healing buddy if he is running Drain or not, and if he's not, then you have to slot it. Send the elements to sap an enemy's defenses and afflict them with Major Breach for 23 seconds, reducing their spell resistance by 5,280. Also place minor magicka steal to the enemy for 23 seconds, causing you and your allies to restore 300 magicka every 1 second when damaging them. Super useful. Right now we are on a Warden, so I will just go through those Warden class abilities to show you guys how I would place them. I will also log on Templar and Necromancer later to show you basically how I would fill up those spots. But first of all, the Warden. Yeah, in this skill tree we are using as a Warden heal 2 skills, Fetcher Infection and Blue Betty. The Fetcher Infection is actually super useful because it's replacing the Infallible Ether set. It does magic damage. Every second cast of this ability deals 50% increased damage. That's not that important for us. The important thing comes now. The Fetcher flies rip through the enemy's flesh, afflicting them with minor vulnerability for the duration, increasing the damage taken by 8%. So we put that skill on that bar. Blue Betty. Call a Betty Netch to your side, which restores 4,992 magicka to you over 25 seconds and grants you major brutality and sorcery, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20%. Every 5 seconds, the Netch removes 1 negative effect from you, so it's basically a personal purge. We put that Blue Betty on the other bar, and there's a reason why I do that. It's actually this passive. Increases your magicka and stamina recovery by 12% if an animal companion ability is slotted. That doesn't stack. So that's why I always want an animal companion skill on each bar, so I have on every bar magicka and stamina recovery. Budding Seeds. Summon a field of flowers which blooms after 6 seconds, healing you and your allies in the area for 9,940 health. While the field grows, you and your allies are healed for 1,137 health every 1 second. You can activate this ability again to cause it to instantly bloom. An ally within the field can activate the Harvest synergy, healing for 9,612 health over 5 seconds. So we have a burst heal, we have a healing over time, we have an AoE heal, and we have a synergy. Nice skill to have. I will put it here. Shroomies. The shrooms are actually a nice heal, and while any target healed gains minor intellect and minor endurance, increasing their magicka and stamina recovery by 10% for 20 seconds. That's actually pretty cool. But the thing is, our slots, we have not many slots left actually, and we still need a skill in this tree, so I won't put it right now in here. If you want this skill, you can replace it with probably, I don't know, Drain if you don't have it. Yes, we have a pretty cool passive, and this passive is actually the reason why you always want to have a Warden in your group. It doesn't have to be necessarily a Warden heal, it can also be a Warden tank. This person has to have a healing ability. When you activate a heal on yourself or an ally, you grant the target minor toughness, increasing their max health by 10% for 20 seconds. So as a Warden here, you basically gave them 10% more health for the whole fight. Winter's Embrace. We need one skill. We need that expansive frost cloak. Wrap a thick cloak of ice around you and your allies. The ice grants major resolve, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5,280 for 12 seconds. In this case, if you have a second Warden in your group and he's running this skill, you don't have to run it. But in this case, I will put it in because I like the skill. And this is actually a setup you can run as a Warden heal. We have an AoE heal, synergy, heal over time with budding seeds. We have that off balance with the blockade. We have the drain if the other heal is not using drain. We have that fetcher infection to replace that infallible ether set. We have resistance with that expansive frost cloak, the warhorn. Bubbles for synergy and resources. Radiating regeneration, a heal to spam. Illustrious healing, also an AoE heal, long-lasting heal, and also a spam heal, but I will explain later why. Combat prayer, super good heal, something you want always to keep up on your group, and also a heal you can spam between long-lasting healing abilities. And that Blue Betty, your personal purge if you need it, and restore resources. So that's actually everything about the Warden. So right now I'm on my Necromancer. I already slotted the skills we were talking about. So now let's look at those skills from the Necromancer we could use. First of all, Gravelord. We definitely need, as a Necromancer healer, the Colossus. Well, it actually depends on your group, but normally the Necromancer healer is not using the Warhorn. He's actually using that Colossus. Yeah, please ask your raid lead what ultimate you in the end have to use. So let's put the Colossus here. Next skill is that Boneyard. Desecrate the ground at the target location, dealing 12,468 frost damage over 10 seconds, and apply major breach and fracture to enemies within, reducing their spell and physical resistance by 5,280. That's obviously a super good spell for boss fights and for trash fights, so a must-have on a Necromancer healer. An ally standing in the graveyard can activate the Grave Robber synergy, dealing 9,659 frost damage to enemies in the area and healing you for the damage done. So it's also a synergy DDs can take. So yeah, just use it always. Agony Totem. Summon an effigy of bone at your feet that gives minor protection to you and your allies for 11 seconds, reducing damage taken by 8%. After 2 seconds, the totem begins fearing nearby enemies every 2 seconds, causing them to cower in place for 4 seconds. That's actually something you have to be careful about, because in probably VMOL first boss, if you place that totem, the off tank can't pull the kitties anymore because they are feared. So use it carefully, but also super good skill you normally always want to have with you. Allies can activate Pure Agony, causing enemies to take 5,554 magic damage over 5 seconds and applying minor vulnerability to them, increasing their damage taken by 8%. So even if this skill is fearing stuff, take it, except first boss removal. The Necromancer has also his personal purge, but that's also a skill you don't need every time. He has his oh shit heal, resistant flesh, sacrifice your own power to repair damaged flesh, healing you on an ally in front of you for 10,267 health, but applying minor defile to yourself for 4 seconds, reducing your healing received and health recovery by 15%. Yeah, use it carefully. You grant the target spell and physical resistance equal to half the amount healed for 3 seconds. So yeah, let's take it with us. I normally don't use oh shit heals. I have them only sorted in case I want to use them. Intensive Mender. Super skill, by the way. Conjure a ghostly spirit to do your bidding and stay by your side for 8 seconds. The spirit heals you or the lowest health ally around you every 2 seconds, restoring 7,821 health. Creates a corpse in death. It's a default heal, like you just press it and he's doing what he has to do and is happy with doing it. We now put some Necromancer skill on our bars. The Necromancer is actually something special. I'm swapping skills a lot. For example, in raids, in trash fights, I love to take that skeletal arcanist with me for a bit damage. Necrotic potency to have always the Colossus really quick up. Well, that depends really on your group and your playstyle. So I think those skills are actually the best skills you can use if you want to play the Necromancer healer without any special min-maxing. So now I'm on my Templar. We need this one, Lunis Shards. Magicka DDs have the other morph, but we will take the morph with that restoring resources synergy. An ally near the spear can activate the Holy Shard synergy, restoring 3,960 magicka or stamina, whichever maximum is higher. They also restore an additional 1,980 magicka or stamina, whichever maximum is lower. We will put it here. Dawn's Wrath. Here is this skill important for every Templar heal. In case you have a Stumpler in your group, you will never use this skill, because the Stumpler has Power of the Light in his rotation. If you don't have a Stumpler in your group, you have to use this skill every time. So we will put it here. Targets are also afflicted with minor fracture and minor breach, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 1,320 for 9 seconds. That's the important part of the description for us in this case. As you can see, we have now 2 slots left. Restoring Light is the healing tree from the Templar. As I already said, I personally don't use or shit heals. In case you want to use it, I would recommend to take Honor the Dead and not Breath of Life, because Honor the Dead is restoring 60% of the ability's costs over 6 seconds as magicka if you're healing someone below 75% health. So if I'm using the shit heal, I want my costs back. You have 2 more important skills in this tree. Ritual and Channel Focus. The thing is, we only have 1 slot left. So if your healing buddy is a nice guy, he probably will drain for you because you have Power of the Light with you. If you're lucky, you have a slot free. If not, I would recommend you to take always Ritual and not the Focus with you, because Ritual is a huge healing. In this case, I decided to take the damage morph, because, I don't know, everyone needs more damage, and in trash fights it's awesome, and yeah, you can decide actually, but I would recommend to take the damage one. Cleansing up to 2 harmful effects from yourself immediately while in the area. You and your allies are healed for 2,198, while enemies take 2,411 magic damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds. That's the damage one. Allies in the area can activate the Purify synergy, cleansing all harmful effects from themselves and healing for 5,380 health. So Ritual is also a cleanse for your allies and yourself, so take it with you. Those are basically the Templar healing skills I would take. But as I always say, you don't have to follow skill by skill everything you see. You can just decide if you want to take the same skills or if you swap them. Okay, I'm back on my Warden again, so time to talk about setups. I think I will start with monster sets. Right now I'm running Symphony of Blades in Divine with a 3-stat enchantment. When you heal an ally who's under 50% of their primary resource, grant them Meridia's Favor, which restores 570 magicka or stamina every 1 second for 6 seconds. This effect can occur every 18 seconds per target. On the shoulders I have a maximum magicka enchantment. Actually you want to run every part in Divine because you don't need Infused anymore. If you see a part right now that is still infused, I'm showing you, it's a mistake. I just forgot to transmute it, so just ignore it. Everything has to be Divine. Other monster set, Bogdan. Look, Bogdan had a still infused because I didn't use it in a while. Bogdan got actually nerfed, but yeah, from time to time you can still use it. It won't hurt. When you heal yourself or an ally, you have a 20% chance to summon a totem for 6 seconds that heals you and your allies within 5 meters for 3,178 health every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Next one, Sentinel of Rokugarms. When you heal yourself or an ally, you summon a Dreamer Spider that heals for 1,291 health and restores 125 magicka and stamina to you and your allies within 5 meters every 1 second for 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. And last one that depends on the situation, is Stroking. When you heal yourself or an ally, if they are still below 50% health, their health recovery is increased by 893 for 10 seconds. That really depends on the situation. So normally I would say just get yourself a Symphony, Rokugarms, probably Bogdan, and you will be good to go. Other sets. Right now she's running Hollowfang. Hollowfang is actually the better one. So all parts Divine with maximum magicka enchantment. And yeah, whenever you critically heal or critically damage a target, spawn a ball of hemoglobin at their location. After 2 seconds, the ball explodes, restoring 3,000 magicka and applying minor vitality to you and your allies within 6 meters of the ball for 9 seconds, increasing the healing received by 8%. This effect can occur once every 9 seconds. This ball. If I critically heal or critically damage something, I'm spawning a ball. Olorime in Perfected. On your jewelry you want spell damage enchantments and not magicka recovery enchantments, because you don't need magicka recovery. I will explain soon why you don't need any magicka recovery anymore. Yes, well, Olorime is a proccing set and you proc Olorime with ground-based attacks. Casting abilities that leave an effect on the ground-based abilities, in combat will create a circle of might for 10 seconds. You and your allies standing in the circle gain major courage for 30 seconds, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 258. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. In general, you only need one heal with Olorime, one heal with Hollowfang, so just talk to your healing buddy to avoid that you both running Olorime, because Olorime is actually a set I have the feeling every healer has, or should have. I already said Hollowfang is actually the better one, but I will show you anyways one. Reduce the cost of your magicka abilities by 4% for you and up to 11 other group members within 28 meters. This body part is still infused, just ignore it. It has to be Divine, by the way. Jorvuld increase the duration of all major buffs, minor buffs and damage shields you apply to yourself and allies by 40%. That's super useful. And a new one is Gossamer. Gossamer is actually something that is also depending on the situation you're in. Don't just run default Gossamer, just ask, or just think about if you really need it. When you heal yourself or an ally, you grant them major evasion for 2 seconds, reducing damage from area attacks by 25%. Probably useful in trash fights or in VHOF on last boss or fourth boss. You know, just play around and see where you could need this setup. As healing stuffs, I'm using actually mainly the Perfected Master Restoration stuff. We can, by the way, now farm Perfected Gear in the Dragonstar Arena and the Maelstrom Arena. I'm running my stuff empowered, increases healing done by 9% with a shock enchantment. You can also run actually Asylum stuff if you don't have a Master Resto or a blackrose prison stuff, but I would recommend you to get that Master Resto, actually. Okay, time to talk about what Mundus stone we are going to use, why we are not anymore using infused on our body parts, and especially why we don't need any magicka recovery at all. The thing is, we don't have to sustain anymore. We don't have to sustain any orb spam, any spring spam. We just don't. We can't. Like, we're sitting here, putting a spring on the ground, putting a seed on the ground, and then, yeah, one orb. And now? I mean, look at this. I'm not low. At all. I'm recovering instantly. With no recovery. Just to show you guys, my magicka recovery is right now at 1700, and that's a lot, actually. I'm running the Mundus Thief right now, because we want to crit heal, and the Thief Mundus helps us with that. We basically want to stack as much spell damage as we can to blow out those crit heals. I'm running powered right now, but you can also run precise, actually, for 7% more weapon and spell crit. That's totally fine, by the way. Yes, for potions, they changed actually something. We now can get those alliance spell draw thingies for alliance points. Super cheap. They are actually pretty much the same as the potions we used before. We don't need any magicka recovery in our buff food anymore, so you will be totally fine with B-stat food, max health, max magicka buff food. I'm right now using the purple one. That's pretty expensive. You can just also use do you have it? Yes. That one, Solitude Salmon Soup. Not that good as the purple one, but totally fine to use it. It's super cheap. So if you don't have that much money or not the resources, just go with the blue one. This is fine. As you can probably see and already probably noticed, I'm not a vampire. They changed the vampire skill line with Greymoor. So they deleted the only useful passive in this vampire skill tree for healers. So there's actually no need to be a vampire anymore. So yay, the time has come. We don't have to run a skin anymore. Nice. Red and green champion points is, depends on what you're running right now. And actually, those two are the most important things in that skill tree. Blessed and Earthborn. You don't need 100 points in Blessed. You just don't, because you want that critical healing. You want that. You always want at least 75 points in Blessed. That's totally fine. If it's between 14 or 15%, that's fine, but that's enough. And the rest, like at least 80, 81 points in Earthborn, that's important. That's really important, because you want this. And yeah, the other points, just place them as you want. That is actually also, that actually depends on what you want to do. But those two are super important. Okay, that's actually everything I can tell you about healing after that Scale Breaker patch. I hope you liked it. I hope you understood everything. If you have any questions, just write them down. That's totally fine. I hope I can help you with them.